Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's morning briefing.
The two Palestinian terrorists charged with the October murder of 69-year-old Reuven Schmerling have now been convicted. According to the Justice Ministry Sunday, Youssef Kamil and Mohammed Abu al-Rub accepted the plea bargain before them, admitting to entering Israel illegally and murdering Schmerling at his coal warehouse in Kafir Qasim. The Shin Bet reports that it was a premeditated and nationalistically motivated attack. Kamil and al-Rub were allegedly seeking revenge for a friend of theirs who was shot dead while attempting to commit a terror attack in 2015. That, and because they were upset over the Temple Mount, which is often perceived in the Palestinian authorities under threat. Al-Rub and Kamil, both from the West Bank city of Kabatya, were apparently entering Israel illegally to work at Schmerling's coal warehouse until they finally decided to choose him as a target for their attack. Schmerling's body was found hours later that day by his son, who alerted the authorities. He had suffered wounds to the back, chest, stomach, head, arms, and legs, as the two terrorists stabbed him with a butcher's knife and a pickaxe and beat him with a fan in the room. Kamil and al-Rub are to be sentenced for their crimes on June 24th. Unconfirmed reports coming in now say Israeli jets have just struck Hezbollah military targets along the Syria-Lebanon border. The terror group denies that any airstrikes took place, and Lebanese sources say the sounds heard in the night may have just been from jets breaking the sound barrier. But Arab media says Israeli jets were spotted dropping bombs on a number of positions inside Lebanon. As per Army policy, though, the I.D.F has remained mum on confirming or denying these rumors. But airstrikes in the region would certainly fall in line with the Army's northern strategy as of late. Hezbollah forces, backed with Iranian money, have been mobilizing throughout the region. Although neither side is believed to be gearing up for a war necessarily, everyone is prepared at all times. Israel has taken a decisively proactive approach lately to eliminate northern threats before the danger becomes too great. To that end, Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has just announced that his troops actually need more funding to properly secure the situation brewing in Syria and Lebanon. That area is undoubtedly the most volatile threat facing Israel today. It looks like Hamas is gearing up for what could be a dark and bloody clash with Israeli police this weekend. The terror group is amassing thousands along the Gaza border ahead of a protest set for the weekend, which happens to collide with the eve of Passover. Hamas has just conducted a live-fire military drill so large in scope that it actually set off Israel's Iron Dome. The unprecedented size of the drill signals that Hamas is gearing up for very serious violence this weekend. Soldiers from the group's military wing could be seen practicing anti-tank maneuvers and testing out at least one rocket by firing it into the sea. The amount of gunfire was massive enough that it triggered alarms all over Israel's southern border, activating the Iron Dome defense system and even launching defense rockets into the sky. Hamas says its protest this weekend, which commemorates the day in 1976 that Israel expropriated land in the Galilee, is merely a, quote, peaceful sit-in, end quote. But by conducting its first ever live-fire drill in the Strip and Israel beefing up its defense, it's pretty obvious that neither side really believes those words. Prime Minister Netanyahu, his wife Sarah, and son Yair are all scheduled to be questioned today in relation to the Bezek corruption probe known as Case 4000. Netanyahu and Sarah were last questioned earlier this month and were scheduled to be questioned last week, but postponed due to the Prime Minister fighting a bout of strep throat. This will be the second questioning of Netanyahu in Case 4000 and the first for his son Yair. It's also the first interrogation since former media advisor to Netanyahu, Nir Hefetz, turned state's witness. Police reportedly want to corroborate Netanyahu's version of events against Hefetz's. The Prime Minister, his wife, and son will be questioned separately, with possible face-to-faces with Hefetz as well. Case 4000 centers around an alleged agreement between the Prime Minister and Bezek owner Shaul Elovich. Netanyahu is alleged to have agreed to push laws beneficial to Elovich in return for positive news coverage on Elovich's news network Walla. Elovich and his wife are also scheduled to be questioned today alongside the Netanyahus. Sarah Netanyahu, Yair, and Shaul's wife Iris Elovich are all suspected of having played a hand in covering up the agreement. The Netanyahus have continued to vehemently deny any wrongdoing in this case or any other corruption case that he's being investigated for, however, playing down the drama, saying, "There will be nothing because there is nothing." Prime Minister Netanyahu has just announced a controversial new plan to compile the medical history of every single Israeli citizen into one massive digital database. The proposal has just been given the go-ahead with nearly $1 billion shekels behind it, and the government hopes such a database will give Israel a bigger cut of the medical market worldwide. Israel's 4 major medical insurers already have digital databases of their patients' medical histories, so the first step would be to merge these lists into a single system. Netanyahu says that citizens will only be part of the database if they give their unconditional consent, and that security measures will be in place to make sure this data doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Critics, however, warn that such a database poses massive risks to both privacy and patients' health. By analyzing the data in such a system, medical companies would indeed be inclined to invest in Israeli firms, but they could also potentially use that data against patients by inflating the cost of certain drugs after realizing their popularity. This is exactly the same exploitation that many say ruined the American healthcare system, ultimately profiting only the rich by keeping affordable medical treatment out of reach to the rest. The scandal surrounding Cambridge Analytica's alleged breach of nearly 50 million Facebook users' personal data is also seen as a bright red warning against this plan. In fact, Israel recently even opened an investigation to see if the data firm may have used Israeli intel to help sway the 2016 election.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.